Steel City. Is everybody ready to go? It's proclaimed the greatest radio show.
Welcome, fans, to another episode of The Spread. I'm your host, Jim Sella, in studio with Jay Dash and Big Easy. Gonna talk some Steeler football today. Talk a little bit about the Steelers' Week 3 matchup coming up here in 2016 with the Philadelphia Eagles. It's a Sunday game, 4:25. It's going to be a big matchup, mostly with the news for Pittsburgh now, because apparently Le'Veon Bell will not be there because he chose the reefer over the football.
So what will be the Steelers' record going into this game?
See, that's a tough one. I think I had them 2-0 so far at this
Yeah.
point, so definitely
How is
looking
that a tough one?
more at 1-1
Oh,
or
yeah?
0-2 maybe. I
Why?
don't
They
know.
play Redskins Monday night, right? And then who week
The
2?
Bengals.
Yeah.
Bengals.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough game without Lev Bell. And
Yeah.
I know D'Angelo Williams is filled in well, but he's the oldest running back in football. It's going to happen at one point where he's just not going to be able to do it anymore. So there's that chance that could happen pretty easily this year.
Reggie Bush.
Nope.
Maybe.
Maybe.
You know,
Feeling it.
so
The biggest story about the Eagles is they drafted Carson Wentz. They moved up in the draft. I think it was twice, maybe only once. I believe it was twice, though, because I think they moved up with the DeMarco Murray trade to the Titans, and then they moved up again to get Wentz or something like that. But Sam Bradford was pretty pissed whenever it happened. He threw a little temper tantrum, didn't talk to the team for a while. He wanted to be the long-term starter there in Philly. I don't know why he's crying. He got like $30-something million to play 2 years of football. He'll at least get 18 of that being on the roster this year. You have him, Chase Daniels, and Carson Wentz. And from what I've read so far, Wentz will be the inactive quarterback on game days, at least for the first couple weeks. But that could always change due to injury or obviously performance in the preseason.
He'll be starting by game 3.
Bradford's never really been able to stay healthy. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I'm sure he hasn't played that many years where he's played all 16 games.
Chase Daniel, I don't like that guy either. Isn't he the one that played for the Kansas City Chiefs when all they had to do was win that game and Steelers were in the playoffs?
Yeah, and Coach Doug Peterson, he's the first-year coach for the Eagles. He was their offensive coordinator, I believe, then. So he actually gave Chase Daniel, I think it's like $7 million for this year to be their backup quarterback, which is ridiculous for a backup quarterback. So between Bradford and Chase Daniel, you have almost $25 million wrapped up in the quarterback spot, and neither one of them are worth anything.
So is that a home game, or are we in Philadelphia?
We're at Philadelphia.
Oh, so that's always going to be tough to begin with.
Yeah.
Philly fans that rowdy
And now, sorry.
relentless.
And we'll have to hope our defense gets it together by then as well. I mean, Jordan Matthews, he's still a pretty good receiver. If him and whoever's a quarterback get on the same page by then, I mean, that could be hard to stop. And we'll have to see if Nelson Aguilar as well can step up this season. This is a guy that was drafted, I think he was the first-round draft pick, correct? Maybe second?
Yeah, either late first or high second.
But, yeah, people had high expectations for him, and he really didn't do anything for the first half of the season last year, and then came on a little bit, but nothing major. And I really want to see this guy step up.
They're talking a lot of good things about him with OTAs, but you really haven't done too much football stuff right now. You run some drills, you catch some passes, and 7-on-7 walkthroughs. It's not anything extensive. So what I hear up to right now, I don't really care. It's more about the eye test. When I see him actually play well, then I'll believe he's going to play well. But that doesn't mean he can't.
Is the Hall of Famer Darren Sproles still on the roster?
Yeah, it looks like he's going to be backing up Ryan Matthews this season. And like Jim said before, DeMarco's gone, so Ryan Matthews, Darren Sproles. Sproles should get more PT this season, but they also...
Don't sleep on Sproles. Dude's a beast.
They also drafted a running back in the 3rd round as well, Wendell Smallwood out of West Virginia.
He's Danny Woodhead's cousin.
Yeah.
Now, can the Steelers' defense get better and win some football games? Because, yeah, they played well down the stretch last year, but I'm not 100% sure on this again. Pretty sure it was 7 backup quarterbacks straight, in games. Maybe not 7 different ones, because I think we might have faced A.J. McCarron twice at some point. But at one point, we played a string where we played the backup quarterback in a lot of games in a row, and that could have led to some of the success the Steelers had down the stretch, or they could have been getting better. I mean, you can't say they definitely weren't better because they still only gave up a little over 20 points a game. It wasn't even 21 points per game for the season. But I'm still a little worried with, no real entrenched starter at cornerback. It could be Ross Cockrell. It could be Artie Burns. It could be Senquez Golson, although I hear he's a little banged up again already. You don't know who the starter's going to be. I think it'll probably be Sean Davis over Robert Golden or Golson or whatever the hell his name is. His name's not important enough to remember, then he shouldn't be the starter. So the defense, I think they'll play well, and it's not like Sam Bradford or Daniels or Wentz is a great quarterback. So hopefully we can squeeze out a victory in this one.
Yeah, really, outside of those couple receivers, and I mean, Ryan Matthews, I'm not sold on that guy either. I know he looked pretty good last season when he came in for DeMarco Murray, but again, as a backup running back, you usually do look a little bit better than you would if you were a starter. So I'm not sure Ryan Matthews is the answer out there either. I think Jordan Matthews is the guy that you got to watch, and he's the big playmaker on this team, so they got to pay attention to him more than anything else. But outside of that, I mean, Philly's offense put up, 23.6 points per game last season, and I don't see him getting any better than that. So like you said, yeah, maybe the defense does struggle because they haven't, like you said, they went through that long streak playing backup quarterbacks or whatever. But, I mean, in this game, I'm not worried about it because they probably will be playing a backup quarterback because they really don't have a starter.
Believe it. Now, can this offense sustain what it was expected to do, losing both Martavis Bryant and Lev Bell? When they lost Bell last year and D'Angelo Williams filled in, it felt like they didn't miss a beat. They still kept their points per game up. I think they actually averaged more points per game. But that was when they also went on that streak where they scored 30 in a row or 30 in a game for 5 in a row or something like that. So I don't know if losing both of those playmakers, how much it's going to hurt the Steelers. You would think that Ladarius Green should be able to fill a little bit of the Martavis Bryant void. Not necessarily, an 80-yard pass down the field, but maybe some passes in the red zone that Bryant could have,
gone up after. He got to fill the Heath Miller void as well. So that's putting a lot on his shoulders. And, I mean, Sammy Coates has to step up, too, and fill some of that Martavis Bryant void we're talking about here.
I seen somebody from the Trib say that Sammy Coates could push for the number 2 wide receiver spot this year. You think he's going to beat out Wheaton? I don't think there's enough on Coates to say that yet. I'm not saying he can't, but you said
he's going to have 1,000 yards.
You haven't seen enough of the guy.
I mean, he's going to step into some kind of a big role, right?
I mean, Mike Wallace almost had 1,000 yards his rookie year, and all he did was catch a deep pass.
Well, I mean, that's pretty much all Martavis Bryant was really doing, too. I know he had the extra thing going on with the reverses and everything, and that was a huge part of his game as well. And there's no way, I don't think we're going to make that up unless they put Antonio Brown into that type of role. I don't see anybody else stepping into that type of role. But yeah, Martavis Bryant's that kind of guy too. He only had 50 catches last season or something. It's a little over 3 a game. I guess he did miss 5 games though.
Yeah, he's beast.
He is a beast.
It's gonna be
Dude's
tough.
Garbage.
Martavis?
I'm done with these hoodlums.
Well, on the field, they're a beast.
Yeah, got it. Agreed.
But you lose Le'Veon Bell's 1,000 yards rushing, 800 yards receiving, and Martavis Bryant's 1,000 yards receiving, and all the touchdowns combined. It's going to be tough for the Steelers to get that 30-point a game, mark that they thought they could get for the season.
Happening. I didn't think it was happening with Martavis and Le'Veon as well.
I agree. But I think really now it's the biggest dagger. The funniest part is all the hate-love. It's about 50-50 for Le'Veon Bell on the internet. People were either 100% behind him and that he did no wrong and they're sitting there crying because people are upset and saying that Lev Bell let the team down, or they just completely hate him and they think he's a pothead hoodlum and he should be cut from the team.
Right.
I don't think Bell will be cut. Obviously, this is going to hurt his contract negotiations for next year. I don't necessarily think it's going to help the Steelers get him any cheaper, but he's obviously not going to get anywhere near that $15 million plateau that he thought he could get, just for the sheer fact that he won't be able to put up enough numbers for the year because he's going to miss 4 games. At least. That doesn't mean he's not going to get hurt and miss other games. Like, running backs get hurt. He's been hurt the past 2 years. So it's really a big question mark now at the running back position for the Steelers when you have a 34-year-old starter and Buttery Croissant as your backup.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? I'm done with him, dude. I'm done with Le'Veon. I'm just done with him. I can care less.
He says he's not going to miss any games at all, and he's going to win his appeal, but we'll see. I disagree. I think he's going to lose.
There are any running backs out there on the block?
You got, Joik Bell is a free agent.
That wouldn't be terrible.
Reggie Bush, we've already said that and just kind of laughed about it. I forget there was one more that was kind of good. You would think they might look at somebody, but they drafted somebody in, the 5th round or something. They have Cameron Stingley, and they have another guy, I forget his name, that they think can fill the void while Le'Veon's out. But I don't know. Nobody's going to beat Le'Veon, obviously. There's not a lot of backs in the league that can do what he can do.
So what? Yeah, will you expect big things when he comes back, though? Do you expect him to just jump in and start tearing it up again?
Probably.
Definitely.
What about the silver lining people were trying to take with the fact that he had the knee injury? So it's going to be better for him to sit out those games and rest.
Well, I wouldn't say necessarily that way, but it is a way to keep his touches down for the entirety of the season, and it's a way that maybe he will be healthy for the playoffs.
All right, so what hurts more, losing Brady for 4 games or Lev Bell for 4 games?
Always the quarterback.
Yeah, no doubt.
But we're talking a lot hate here on the Steelers' offense right now, and I mean they are missing some pieces. We'll have to see. There's still questions about this offense, but well, here's the point I was making for this game. I mean, it's always a big deal or whatever, but Philadelphia's defense wasn't good at all last year. They were in the bottom 5 in points allowed, so I think this offense is still good enough to put it to this defense. You look, they didn't even address the defense until the 6th round in the draft, so I really don't see this defense taking a huge turnaround or anything, so I still think this is a game where the Sammy Coates and D'Angelo Williams can make a big impact and they can win this game.
Yeah, I'm not saying they can't win the game, and I don't expect the offense to be garbage by any means. I just don't think it's going to be that elite status that everybody thought it could be.
I really don't think it ever was yet.
I agree.
But according to Vegas, it really hasn't mattered. They're still the second favorite in the AFC to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And New England's still number 1 with Tom Brady out for 4 games. So really, they're taking these suspensions as it really means nothing.
It's definitely better to happen early in the year, and obviously Ben Roethlisberger can put the team on his back for a couple games and win some games, but we like to play those games more at home because the Steelers' offense struggles a little bit on the road, so you just hope that it isn't one of those perfect storm games where Pittsburgh's supposed to win but then doesn't. But I agree with you, Dash. I think the offense does enough. They're going to do enough all year to keep the Steelers in contention. It's still the strength of the football team right now, and especially in this game. Like you said, Sam Bradford's not any good. Chase Daniels isn't any good, and Carson Wentz will be a rookie. The Steelers' defense always does well against rookie quarterbacks. I just don't think they have the right type of team to beat Pittsburgh, and I still think that they'll win this football game. It'll just be a lot harder.
3-0.
Well, no, I think they're going to, Washington's going to be tough. That game without Le'Veon Bell is really going to be hard. If Kirk Cousins plays the way he did last year when he was at home and then down the stretch in those last 7 or 8 games, that'll be a game because they can put up points too. So, Philly's offense can't put up points at the same rate that Washington was. So any team's offense that can match ours, that's really where the Steelers might struggle a little bit without a defense, unless the defense gets all those turnovers that they did last year. But that's hard to do in back-to-back years.
And they beat the Bengals in the playoffs without Le'Veon once, so
yeah.
Why not?
I mean, they won a lot of games without him last year, definitely. You just got to hope and pray that D'Angelo Williams can give us one more season, those good legs.
I think you got to give some credit to the offensive line. I heard a lot this offseason our offensive line sucks. I thought they did better than they ever have under Ben Roethlisberger last season.
That was the least he's been sacked ever in his career.
Yeah, he had the least pressure in the league according to Pro Football Focus in 2015.
And Le'Veon Bell goes down. D'Angelo Williams, an older running back, steps in, and they really didn't miss a beat. You got to give some credit to that offensive line.
No doubt.
You just have nothing behind D'Angelo, so you don't really have anybody to give him a spell.
I mean, even
lose buttery Toussaint.
Toussaint and Todman last season. I mean, we said they looked pretty good when they were in. And I mean, again, that has something to do with the offensive. Well, obviously, but that has something to do with the offensive line as well.
Yeah, believe it. And they're bringing Marquise Pouncey back this year from injury.
Oh, dude, will be busted.
Nah, he'll be all right. He's come back from injury before.
Oh, he definitely comes back.
He usually plays well in the season in between injuries, so he'll be all right.
We'll find out.
But that's it. That's all I got, and there ain't no more. Fans, anything you want to comment, hit us up on Twitter at bet_the_spread. Hit me up on Twitter at betjimthewin. Check out the Facebook page at facebook.com/betthespread. Keep coming back to YouTube and click and subscribe. If you're bored, go listen to the Tom Brady episode that we did. It's pretty funny, and the picture on there makes him look like a complete tool.
You know.